Hello, West Seattle students. This is a quick video about how to make a works cited page for your papers or research projects or whatever it is you're doing. All right, so the first thing you're going to need is a citation machine kind of thing. The web does this way better. I used to have to do this by hand, but now there's all kinds of websites for it. I'm going to use Zoterobib, which is also called zbib.org, and I like this one just because it doesn't have any ads right now, and it's pretty stripped down and minimalist, so it works well. All right, so if your teacher does want you to give a works cited entry for something, you're going to need to do more than just copy the URL. So let's say I have an article right here, and I want to have a paper that references this article about things I want for Christmas. And so you would need to do more than, like I said, just copy the URL. If you just copy the URL, it's not really going to do anything, and it's particularly because URLs change a lot, and so it really wouldn't help anybody who's looking for your citation later. So you're going to actually need to make a proper works cited page. So one of the things you can try is to copy the URL. So I just highlighted the URL up there and I clicked Control Copy, and then you can go over to the Zoterobib and you can just paste that in and click the Cite button, and you can see if it works. And in this case, it did something really weird. I would not actually use this citation. It's a modern language version, which is kind of fine, but this doesn't actually look right. I usually use Chicago for my students, and as you can see, you can shift back and forth. So even there, though, it doesn't look right. It's supposed to start with author's last name, author's first name. My main point being that usually just entering the URL here doesn't work. This is a problem. And so you kind of need to know what a works cited is supposed to look like beforehand. The safer thing to do is use manual entry. So that's what I'm actually going to do. So I clicked manual entry, and it then gives you item type here at the top. And this is not a book, so I'm going to choose something that it actually is, which is web page, which I wish was at the top because you use it the most often these days. But then it gives you all the stuff you're actually supposed to enter here, nice and easily. So I'm just going to look for the stuff on the web page that I have and just paste it in here. So first thing it wants is the title for the article. That's easy because that's right here. So I'm just going to highlight that, Control Copy, and then I'm going to put it in the title. And then the author's last name and first name. It wants the last name first, so let's go grab that. His name is Gil. That looks like a link, so I'm actually not going to copy that because it's going to be problematic maybe. But it's Chris Gill. That's easy to type, so I'm just going to do that. All right, so I got the author name. The website title is tricky because you need to figure out, this is the title of the article, but the actual website it's on is Guitar World. For instance, if you were on a Wikipedia page, you'd use the page from Wikipedia, and then you would also look for, Wikipedia. In this case, it's Guitar World. So I'm going to grab that and just type in Guitar World to keep it easy. Website type, I never enter that. It doesn't really matter. The publisher, you want to check and see if it's anything else, but actually in this case it's gonna be Guitar World also. Usually the publisher has to do with whether it's from a newspaper or something like that. So for instance, it might be the New York Times or something like that. I'm just gonna put Guitar World again because that's obviously the publisher of this thing. And then the URL is pretty straightforward. That's the user, whatever, that's this thing up here. So I'm just going to copy that, and that just goes right into the URL. The date is always tricky. The date, you have to figure out, is there an actual date? And luckily, in this case, there is a date. A lot of times there won't be a date, and sometimes there's not even an author. But in this case, it's November 11th, 2019, so I can just copy that in. Actually, let me just cut and paste that just to make my life easier. So I'm going to grab it. And you can do this more formally, and some teachers may ask you to do it in a specific format. I don't for my students, but that's just me. So the other thing, if you don't have a date, you should put the date accessed. If you do have a date, I don't worry about the date accessed. Language, who cares? Abstract, extra, who cares? Website type, who cares? But basically when I'm doing it, I only look for the title, the author, The website title / publisher, in this case it's the same thing. I would actually only put one of these, but I'll put them both here for now. The date and the URL. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. There's always 5 things in a Works Cited page. So once you've entered this stuff, which literally didn't take very long, except for the fact that I was talking a lot, you have your 5 things, then you just click done. All right, and you can see here it's created a proper Works Cited page. Last name, first name, the title, the publisher stuff, the date, and then the URL. This is what it's supposed to look like in Chicago style. Your teacher might also want Modern Language Association, which will give a slightly different version, but I want Chicago Manual style, so this one. And then it also has a little copy thing right here, so I'm just going to copy that. And that gives me my, oh, actually that makes a footnote. So if I were going to footnote this, I would use that. But in fact, I just want to grab this whole thing and I just control copy and put that into my Works Cited page. So that's how you would make a Works Cited entry that is nice and formal, that's not too picky. Basically, it's go to Zoterobib, use manual entry, pick website, choose the right style that you want, and then you're good to go. All right. Hope that was helpful. Thanks. Bye.